Hello everyone and welcome to this pick a card reading video. This is all about your standout qualities. Now when I asked Spirit to give me insight into your standout qualities, I was asking for positive qualities in all of you, but a lot of times, well, for all of you they pretty much, I don't want to say stated anything negative, but stated the things that I'll say are neutral and factual about yourself. So you'll see what I mean when I get to your part of this reading. But there are 3 tarot cards for each group, as well as 1 card in each group from the Power Animal Oracle Cards deck, and 1 card from the Eternal Crystals Oracle Card deck in each group as well. If you do not feel drawn to any of the cards, or any of the groups I should say, then that just means this video is not for you, and there are plenty of other timeless pick-a-card reading videos that you can find all throughout my YouTube channel. But here is Group 1A, Group 2B, Group 3C. You can pause if you'd like, and if you need some more time to figure out which stack you're most drawn to, maybe you are drawn to more than one. Especially with ones like this, it's like everybody has different parts of their personality, so maybe you are drawn to more than one in this video more than any other video. Also, everything that I say and talk about in this video is for entertainment purposes only and cannot be stated as fact. Let's get into the video. Hello 1A and welcome to your part of the pick a card reading video. So I think that Spirit out of all the groups is roasting y'all the most, and I don't think it's at all with malice though. I really truly do not believe that, because it's like your spirit guides and such. Spirit is not trying to be mean. They're just being lovingly kind of joking with you and knowing how you are. But even though there are 2 cups cards here and there's the Magician here in reverse, I feel very strong Gemini energy with this. So if you have a lot of Gemini or even 3rd house placements, take that as extra confirmation. We will get to the oracle cards later on toward the end of this reading, and I will read in the guidebook what it says for these. And with the oracle cards, this can indicate the kind of person you are, or they can indicate the kind of qualities Spirit wants you to incorporate more, is what I was hearing. So you can take either or. So just keep that in mind when we get to that. You can either be what Spirit wants you to work on more, or the qualities you already have. But let's get into the tarot cards here. The 3 tarot cards, to me, I feel that this group is very aloof. And it's very difficult for you all to make decisions. Other than the 2 of Swords, I would say the 7 of Cups and the 8 of Cups a lot of times can deal with indecision in different contexts, and I just feel that it's very hard for a lot of you to make decisions and to be firm decisions. And I feel like you have the type of personality where, I don't know if you would consider it type A, but you are always thinking about different things to be worried about. So even if there's nothing to worry about, you'll find something to be worried about. So I don't feel you're necessarily in a point in time right now where things are super highly stressful to the point of you worrying a lot. I just think that's how a lot of you are by nature. Very worrying energy. So a lot of you may also have plenty of 6th house or Virgo placements as well, because Virgo is also ruled by Mercury, and I just feel a lot of worrying energy here, mercurial energy. So Gemini or Virgo, but especially I was getting Gemini energy. I feel that maybe even right now you're at a point in life where you're definitely at some sort of crossroads. I just get the sense that many of you worry a lot, and here's the thing though. At least if you're the type of person who worries a lot, at least there's somebody that is thinking about something. Do you know what I mean? Like, some people are very go with the flow, and you always are thinking about situations that could come up and that could happen. And I think you often think about the worst case scenario, which isn't good for an everyday to always be thinking about worst case scenario. But I feel that you have helped yourself and other people get out of sticky situations for at least caring about the situation or about anything going on. enough to prevent further havoc or havoc in general. Like, you've prevented bad things from happening, but I think because of that too, that confirms your bias of, see, if I'm worrying about things all the time, then if I'm preventing something from happening, even if it's just one thing out of the many times that I'm worrying, then it confirms, like, okay, see, bad things happen. And so that's why it's good to be like this. And I'm not saying to be like that all the time. It's okay to worry. And I think too, this can be why other people may struggle to tell you things, because I think a lot of you, with peace and love, of course, can be a bit more dramatic, and I think you can go very over the top and worry more than the average person and overthink. There's a lot of overthinking that goes along with this as well. And when this type of energy pops up, I have to bring up that probably a lot of you are like this because of hypervigilance and maybe any other issues that stemmed from especially childhood, but anything when you were younger, or any like traumatic experiences that you have that cause you to be very hypervigilant. And I don't think this is hypervigilance for any specific situation as much as it is just for your everyday life. I feel like you're hypervigilant about many things, or about everything. So again, there are some good things about that though. I want to tap more into the positive qualities though, because I really am not trying to be, like rude or anything, but these are just the messages that I've been hearing. Other than the fact that you have helped yourself and other people remain out of sticky situations or get out of sticky situations, I think at least when people tell you something about themselves, you're more likely to care than other people. Where you'll, a friend can come to you and say something and you'll be like, oh my God, that is so awful. And you'll go off on a rant about that person. I think a lot of you aren't necessarily confrontational. I think there's actually quite a bit of escapist qualities in this, especially with the Eight of Cups being here. I think it can be very hard for you to have discussions with people, and I think you can just get very overstimulated. But for the people you care for, you are very much their ride or die. And I feel that, again, when people come to you with issues, if you feel upset on their behalf, you will really feel upset, and you will really try to help this other person be picked up on their feet, and you'll try to help come up with solutions for them and help them to be on better standing ground, to be better grounded. So people can always rely on you to have their back and to provide thoughtful advice and solutions for them if they do have any problems and they are asking for that advice. I think sometimes some of you can give unsolicited advice, for sure, but I think that, again, there's really a sense of you being very caring for the people who are close to you. I think people outside of your close-knit circle of family and friends and loved ones, I think they can maybe look at you with like a side eye, but the people who are closest to you know your heart and know how great of a person you are, even if it comes out in extreme ways sometimes, where it's, I'm not sensing any sort of aggressive energy or anything. I just think you can be very over the top and take things to the nth degree. But again, I get a lot of very caring energy from you, and I think it comes out in a way, because especially with Gemini energy, when people are very caring, with a lot of Gemini placements, it can come out as, like, they don't even realize that they're being caring. They're just being so honest, and that's very mercurial, where I think a lot of you are just being honest, whether it's truthful, like, to the world, or if it's just truthful to your experience. That's another thing. I think a lot of you, it's truthful to your experience, whatever you're saying. So what you say and how you feel, when you say it with full force, with your whole chest. You don't hold back, and sometimes that can put you in sticky situations, but if in the right contexts, that's an amazing thing, where I don't even think you realize how much you can help uplift people and help people get out of any sort of rut. And I just think you're very kind without even realizing it. And again, there's no swords here, but I am getting a lot of sword energy, where the way you talk to people is very impactful to them. If you talk to people with negative connotations, it impacts them, I think, more than the average person. If you talk to people with positive connotations, it impacts them more than it would the average person, the average Joe or Joette, So that's something that's very beautiful, that those qualities that you have. I see it coming from a very innocent place too. I want to talk about that, where I think a lot of you have this sort of innocence about you. And it's very beautiful. It just feels very heartwarming, where there's this innocence of just being who you are and like being so unabashedly. And sometimes, you know, it's like, even though I think a lot of you are worriers, I think you can sometimes be aloof to how other people operate, how other people think about you and how they feel, because you're just working in your own little world. There's this innocence of working in your own little world and doing just from your own experience and doing from what you know and saying from what you know and leading with that. And again, sometimes there can be, with this is a little bit of impulsivity I'm sensing with just like doing and saying with what you feel and like in that moment. But I see it coming across in a very innocent way, in a very loving way, and in a way that is trying to be a good person and is trying to be of benefit and of help. Okay? So now let's go over to the oracle cards. Let's go to the koala in here first. It states, it seems that a lot of folks use lots of words, many more than are really needed. It's rather narrow to consider communication to always be about words. You can fill the air with words, and sometimes even use them to cloud deeper sentiments and feelings. Talking so much can take away from the elegant pleasures inherent in stillness. As the old adage goes, be still and know I am. Talk less and you'll find immense opportunities to not only listen, but to really hear. Even though it might sound strange, you can even hear silence. Get to know others in a different way. Ask simple questions, then tune in not only to the words they say, but more important to the subtle body language with which they express the words. You'll pick up nuances of feelings and meaning, some that even the speaker isn't aware. Listen closely as you walk through the woods. You can hear the sound of your heartbeat and breathing, the songs of birds, and the whispery crunch as various critters make their way through the forest. Make it a point today to speak as few times as possible and only when absolutely necessary. Instead, use your ears, eyes, and physical senses as a conduit for a more profound connection with and understanding of the world around you. Additional associations: rest, detoxification, safety, and sensitivity. And I forgot to say that the keyword is empathy, and the key phrase is speak less and listen more. So, before I move on to lapis lazuli, I think this card perfectly exemplifies advice from spirit to you, where I think a lot of you can externally or internally talk to yourself and others and try to fill that gap and fill that void. I think a lot of you too in social situations maybe feel very uncomfortable when there is silence, any sort of silence, and maybe you feel the need to talk and talk and talk and talk. And I think you'll get a lot more clear answers if you not only talk but learn to listen more and balance out your talking with the listening. And so going through periods of like just listening a lot throughout the day and talking a lot less, that also conserves your energy too, where I think a lot of you expend your energy and it can be very difficult for you to maintain that. I wonder if some of you too suffer from insomnia. I know koalas, I believe, sleep quite a bit. I think they are a lot like sloths in the sense of they sleep a lot and they don't really move around a lot. So this is also telling you to rest more. Well, yeah, it did talk about detoxification and rest, I believe. So resting a lot more and getting a lot better sleep. And hopefully that will help you feel less wired as well. And hopefully you'll feel more at peace in your body. When we don't get enough sleep, our fight or flight response or freeze response as well can kick in. And for a lot of you, I think flight and fight resonate pretty well. Even freeze in certain situations, but the koala is telling you to just slow down more, and part of that is really to listen more and to speak less, as it says. Let's go to the Eternal Crystals book now. Lapis lazuli. Problems resolved, third eye and throat chakras. If you have been feeling stuck, stagnant, or as though life is bringing you one problem after another, lapis lazuli is here to help you. Drawing this card indicates that things around you are about to transform. There is a positive energy coming to you that will help you to let go of anything in your past or present that is holding you back. As you dwell less on matters in your past, you will begin to feel the surge of new transformative energy. It is time now for you to focus upon your strengths, not your weaknesses. You have an incredible inner power that can get you through any hard times. Remember that you are not alone. Your spirit guides, angels, and past loved ones are also with you, helping you. Try to stay positive and focused on your goals. Keep charging ahead with your hopes and dreams. Try not to get too distracted by other people's energies, opinions, or problems. Lapis lazuli is associated with your throat chakra. Its energy helps you to communicate clearly. It is also associated with your third eye chakra, which helps you with your intuition. This beautifully goes along with not only the koala card, but with the tarot cards. I didn't read the oracle card descriptions beforehand, but I think that very well fits in. Again, so it talks about the worrying and even how it's connected to the throat and the third eye chakras, where a lot of you need to trust your intuition more. And again, I think I mentioned in the beginning of this reading with the tarot cards, there's something probably in your past that's making you hypervigilant and so anxious, even if it's something that's layered and it's deep down within you. So figuring that out as well could be very helpful for you so that you can understand what triggers you and how to prevent yourself from getting overly triggered or anything, and again, maintaining peace in like a homeostasis state. And Spirit is saying that a lot more productive energy will come about when you are able to achieve this. And also, again, really focusing on that piece of you're not alone either. Like, you're not fighting life alone. There are people here to help you as well, and people who love you and care for you. And I think some of you really need to be reminded that sometimes. But that is where I will leave it for you, 1A. Thank you so much for watching and listening to this video. Across all socials, it is at Brittney's Holistic Healing, although I do not have a Twitter or X account. You can subscribe to my YouTube channel, Brittney's Holistic Healing. I post a lot of different pick a card readings. I also have posted like guided meditations. Let me know what you'd like to see down in the comments. You can comment down below also if you chose this stack and if it resonated with you, and you can comment in the future if you took any of my advice, or Spirit's advice I should say, and also make sure that you like the video. Thank you so much, 1A, and take care. Hello 2B, and welcome to your part of the pick a card reading video. It's really funny because with the imagery of this stack, especially even after the first tarot card, but especially after the second, it just confirmed it, and then the third. But I just was getting the imagery of like an old man, well, not old, a middle-aged or older man who's like a father, and his kids are like playing and laughing around him and like going in circles around him, and he's just sitting there in his chair, like a wooden chair. That's the imagery I was getting. I'm not saying all of you are like grumpy like this old man. Some of you may be, though. Also, for some of you, that wording on here will make sense to you. So it's interesting because King of Cups, it says man over 25 years, but for Knight of Pentacles, it says young man to 25 years. So I wonder if a lot of you are around 25 years, which is my age. I'm 25. What's up? But you might be around age 25. And also, don't take the King and Knight as meaning male. Just because I was getting like male imagery and such, and just because male traditionally is associated with these, the Knight and the King, that doesn't mean you have to be a male, obviously. But I think a lot of you are, with the oracle cards, I will get to those later on. I will read from the guidebook, but just so you know, it says lizard, dream time, pay attention to your dreams and visions, and rose quartz, love, heart chakra. But I will get to those later. Also, I will say those oracle cards go beautifully together, and I'll explain more later. But, okay. The tarot to me is indicating that you are somebody who is a very overall stable person. I'm just talking about in general. I think a lot of you who have chose this are very logical people as well, and a lot of you do things by the book. I'm getting very hardcore Capricorn energy from this, so if that resonates as extra confirmation for you, you can take that if you have a lot of Capricorn or even 10th house placements. But I feel a lot of you are very stable, and people can easily rely on you. I think you're the type of person where if somebody's like, can you please do this for me? You will do it. And for a lot of you, even though the King of Cups is pulled here, I don't think a lot of you have a lot of overtly emotional responses to people, or doing, in this example, doing things for people, or even how you say things to people. Like, if you love someone, I don't think you're the type of person to specifically say it outright. I think you're the type of person who indicates that through your actions. Even if you say strictly or specifically I love you. It's your actions that really seal the deal for people to know that you care. I think you're somebody who's a very helpful person, and I see you being the type of person who just when people have problems, you are right on it, and you are the type of person who I think a lot of you are not overly big worriers. That's not what I'm getting from this, at least. I think you, if there are, yes, you're very good under pressure is what I want to say. Or in highly stressful situations, you are able to handle all of it with grace, and it's like things don't faze you. And I wonder how that was able to happen. I think some of you have walls and boundaries up, and it prevents you from being vulnerable sometimes, but it also can allow you to get things done and look at the hard facts and not be clouded with other people's opinions. I think you're really good at that as well. You're really good at not, like, you'll take feedback. I think you're really good with accepting criticism, but you are, when people are trying to be mean to you or whatever, you're just like, well, that's fine. Like, you are easily able to let it roll off your back. And I think some of you maybe internalize it, which isn't a good thing, but some of you, I think it's just like, yeah, whatever, this person doesn't know me. For a lot of you, I think that's the case, where it's like, this person doesn't know me, or this person isn't getting their facts straight or whatever. You're easily able to, categorize people, I think, and categorize people's thoughts and judgments, and if it doesn't fall in line with you, you're like, whatever. But because the King of Cups is here in the upright, I think a lot of you can be introspective in terms of always wanting to better yourself and wanting to understand where you can improve, understanding where you can be your best self. I think a lot of you, if you are not successful, you strive for stability and success, which also is giving me Taurus energy as well, I will say. I think a lot of you and second house energy. I think a lot of you are very good at planning and organizing as well. You're good at getting things in order and getting things in line. Because I bring up the ordering and stuff, there's a little hint of Virgo energy in there as well. But Virgo energy was for the first deck as well. But only a little bit. It's more so the Capricorn energy. But I will say, especially with the Knight of Cups being in reverse, I think a lot of you, and a little bit ago I brought up the boundaries as well, and how maybe some of you struggle with being vulnerable. I think that's something Spirit wants for you to work on for sure, and especially when I get to the Oracle cards later. I only read tidbits from the Oracle deck. I don't know what it says in full, but okay. First I want to say, sometimes some of you aren't good at caring for yourself. Like, you'll do things that need to get done, and you can overwork yourself, and that isn't good for anybody. And sometimes you can overextend your energy into other people as well, and not have enough alone time. Some of you too, though, it's the opposite of that, so whichever resonates more. But some of you also struggle with being alone because you strive on being alone. Maybe you're very much a leader, and then it's like you get home at the end of the day and it's just you, and even if you have family at home with you, you're very much in your own mind. And I think a lot of you can think about what's next or what's coming up in the future, and also what you can do to, again, get everything in place and organize everything together. So Spirit wants you to, for example, not bring work home with you, and also not worry too much about other people and worry too much about the logistics of things. They want for you to be more emotionally receptive. And they also want for you to be more emotionally open in how you connect with other people. Because, again, I think you very much are there for people. And we even have the King of Cups upright. And so I think you express your love for people. But they really want for you, Spirit really wants for you to be more open with your words. And express not only the I love yous, but I love you because, like, this is an example. Or I appreciate when you do this because, or I don't appreciate when you do this because. And having that come from, I think a lot of you have that love definitely within you. Like, there's an abundance of love I'm feeling within that heart chakra area. But I think the people around you sometimes want to make sure you're not a robot, and they want for you to express that more. They want for you to express more how you're feeling and why you're feeling the way you feel, so that people can get a better indication of those things and people can connect to you on a greater level. And it doesn't even just have to be with family or friends. I feel like being more emotionally open and connecting with people outside of your circle would be very helpful as well. Some of you maybe struggle with making friends or maintaining friendships or acquaintances because I think sometimes you can see it as a waste of time and space. And if people don't fit into your life or don't share the same hobbies as you, sometimes that can be part of the compartmentalization of putting these people inside this box. Spirit doesn't want you to do that as much. They want for you to be more open. Oh, and I forgot, the rose quartz is here, and that's a very big heart chakra stone. And again, we'll get to that later. I know I keep saying that, but it really does all connect. But even just like the everyday stranger, I think a lot of you, how do I want to say? I think sometimes you can struggle with small talk. And again, people outside of your circle, I think you can struggle with communicating with people outside of your circle, where it's like you give basic answers and you just want to get on with your day and not have to deal with any outside people. Spirit wants you and encourages you. It doesn't have to be specifically small talk, but like engaging in some sort of conversation with people outside of your circle, and also making more friends could be very helpful for you. Or connecting just on a deeper level with people who are already in your life. That's a big thing that Spirit wants for you to do. And also, I think some of you are so focused on the logistical side of things that you don't allow your creativity to flow. And so sometimes, I think what Spirit really wants you to know too is that working on your creativity can expand even your logistical side, because there will be better balance. And so it isn't all one way or the other. Like, taking up a hobby that is very creatively eye-opening for you could be very helpful. And don't look at it as something that can make you money, and don't look at it as something that is a waste of time if it doesn't make you money, or if it's not something that fits into your life very well. Find something, okay? Even if it's just like, oh God, I don't know. Because I feel like for some of you, you would want it to be beneficial for you, but I encourage you strongly to do something that it doesn't like add to your life in a sense of, like, it adds to your life, but not in a sense of it helps accomplish another task or another area of your life. So let's say you already exercise like every day or like multiple times a week, but you should take up maybe yoga. And you're like, well, I already exercise and I don't want to take on any other exercises, and I don't know anybody else that does yoga, and I'm very unflexible. Like, this is just an example, of course. But then if it's something like that, where I would then encourage you to do yoga once a week, or at very least twice a month, once a month, even if you have to start out with that. And going in person in a group setting where you're pushing yourself outside of your comfort zone and doing something in a group setting would be very helpful. Something creative in a group setting, and especially something that you are not great at, or at least at first you're not great at, or that you think you aren't the best at. Cooking class would be really good too. Because I think some of you are very perfectionistic, and this is a way of getting you outside of that and making you realize that you can do more than just the things that you know you're great at or that you think you would excel at. And don't just give up on it if you're not good at it. That can be part of the creative process for many people, is doing something where you can still enjoy it and be creative, have a creative outlet, but you don't have to be great at it. You don't have to monetize upon it, capitalize on it. You don't have to prove anything to anyone. You just have to be and enjoy the moment, being present and aware of the moment. Some of you are very much thinking about the future as well. The present as well as the future, but doing things that really focus on the very specific now, the very specific moment. That will be very helpful for you. But those are the messages for the tarot cards. Let's get into what the oracle cards say. Let's go to Lizard in here. So, it says, Lizard, dream time. Pay attention to your dreams and visions. There's a place underneath the conscious mind, below the instinctual self, and you are pure witness, observing your experience from a completely detached perspective. This place is called the dream time, where all apparent boundaries between self and other disappear. What remains is unadulterated awareness, specific to you, yet at the same time expanded into the boundless universe. In this place that is at the very core of your experience, you also profoundly comprehend that you're simultaneously a body and something much greater than merely a body. The dream time is a place where there's no sense of boundaries between your body and surroundings. In this mystical, surreal state of pure existence, you're always guided and protected by the wise and ageless inspiration of spirit. Your dreams and visions are the window into this absolute reality, so watch your dreams closely and pay attention to your visions. They will always guide you and lead you, but most especially at this time. Additional associations: primal, ancient, reflexive, spontaneous. So I think before I get into the eternal crystals, I want to touch on that, where some of you need to add more spontaneity into your life. I feel like there's very organized, planned schedules and routines in your life, and doing things on impulse, as long as it's fine. Like, again, I feel like going to yoga class today instead of tomorrow, and if you have the time and you're not like impeding on anybody like in your household schedule or anything, like as an example, then like do something like that where it's not monotonous and you're not in this stagnant cycle of energy. And with this card too, I love this card. Actually, out of all the cards in the deck, this is one of the cards in my top 3 that I pull the most for myself. I love it. It's very much focused on the creative side of things as well. Also, with the dream time, I want to talk about having a dream journal could be interesting for you, and you can understand what's being potentially presented to you in your dreams, and that could help you, especially with gaining insight into what you can do creatively. But I think Spirit really wants you to have fun and play more, and they want you to have these dreams and visions where, I know I said be more in the present and don't think so much about the future, but if you are going to think about the future, be less logistical and be more fantastical with it, where you add some creative flair into it. Maybe you're like, oh yeah, definitely in exactly 10 years, I'm going to be moving to this place, and I'm going to be there and retire, like, as an example, of course. But instead of just being like, oh yeah, this is just the fact of the matter and what I'm going to do, be like, well, what makes it so great that I want to be there? What could I do there that could be inspiring to me? Like, in this example where it's like, oh, I retired, then how can I still live my life and have fun while I'm there? There's a lot of fun and childlike energy in this, where you should think about the ways in which you can have fun and tap into your inner child, and what maybe the things too that your inner child always wanted to do but never could, or saying the things your inner child always wanted to say but never could. Maybe you weren't in a safe space to do that. But really, there's a lot of emphasis on visualizing, and for some of you, you'll be like, oh, not with this, but with the meditating too. If you are somebody who doesn't have aphantasia and you're able to visualize, this could be a very helpful time for you to gain intuitive insights, especially since the Knight of Cups is in, sorry, I hit the microphone, hopefully that wasn't too loud. The Knight of Cups is in reverse. A lot of you can struggle to connect to that intuitive piece, and I think a lot of the decisions you make are based not only on logic but intuition, but you just don't realize it, right? But if you want to tap more into not only the creative side of yourself, but the intuitive side, meditating would be very helpful, and that can help you in achieving your goals and your dreams that you do have. Not only like the dreams when you're sleeping, but the actual like the goal related dreams that you envision yourself wanting to have, and envision the parts of that plan that sound fun and inspiring, that light you up, and that aren't just part of the plan, as I should say. But let's go to rose quartz now in here. It says, love, heart chakra. Open your heart today. As you feel love for yourself, you will automatically attract love from others. It's important that you nurture yourself as a mother would tenderly nurture her child. You give so much love out to other people, family and friends. There is nothing wrong with you taking some time to nurture yourself. Visualize or feel the healing energy of rose quartz clearing out any past relationship hurts from your heart. Take time to acknowledge and feel the love which surrounds you from your past loved ones and your family and friends who are living. Drawing this crystal is not only a sign of your need for self-love, and when I talked about how you need to do that more, it is also, or at least self-care, but self-love too. It is also a time for you to focus on your relationship area. Rose quartz is known as the love stone. It is associated with the heart chakra. It opens your heart up to unconditional love. Rose quartz's message for you is that your heart will soon fill with happiness. You will enjoy a wonderful, equal, loving relationship with an existing intimate partner, or if you are single or you aren't in a satisfying relationship, a new one will enter your life soon. Yeah, so it's interesting because I really feel that you are a very loving person, that you will do anything at the drop of the hat for people, and just think of it very like clear cut. But you need to connect more on that emotional level, and people will really be able to feel more of the type of person you are, and like knowing and understanding that you do love them. It's not just something that you do, because people do know your heart and your true intentions, and they love you for who you are. But just opening up more, expressing yourself with your words, not just your actions, is very helpful. And some people say, it's not, like they'll look at people's actions, not the words, for if they want change to be done. But you already do great things. People just want the validation and to be heard by you and seen by you. And a way that they can feel seen isn't just through the actions, it is through the words. And like, for example, some people in your life, maybe their love language is words of affirmation. That's very high up on the list for me personally. And some of you too, I will say, struggle maybe with physical touch. So focusing on physical touch in your romantic relationships could be very helpful as well. I see that being helpful. And also the self-love piece. Not only the self-care that I was talking about, like focusing on yourself, but and caring for yourself, but the self-love. And it's interesting because there's like a weird dynamic of caring for other people and kind of neglecting yourself in the process, even if you have only a close-knit circle of people in your life. And maybe some of you, it's interesting because I think a lot of you are also very individualistic and you do things for by yourself, but I think that doesn't mean that you love yourself enough. Like, you're doing things for yourself, but you don't show enough of that love for yourself. You just are kind of working in autopilot, if that makes sense. So having more time to care for yourself and show love for yourself and honor the parts of yourself that you find very honorable in yourself. And also, again, finding ways to connect to other people. It does not just have to be romantic. It's anybody in your life that you can connect to. And opening yourself up more. And people feel more drawn to you. People who already know you and people who don't. And really there's a big emphasis on leading with love and stepping outside of your comfort zone, doing new things. But I will leave it there. To be, thank you so much for watching and listening to this video. You can like the video if you liked it and subscribe to my channel. It helps me out a lot. You can comment down below if you chose this stack and if it resonated with you. And you can also comment down below if you chose this stack and then later on in the future come back and say if you took any of the advice from Spirit today and took that into the future. Across all socials, it is at Brittney's Holistic Healing, although I do not have a Twitter or X account. Thank you so much for watching and listening again, and take care. Hello 3C, and welcome to your part of the Pick a Card reading video. So I will get to the Oracle cards later on, and I will read from the guidebooks, but they say Opossum, Strategy, Have a Backup Plan, and Peridot, Teach, Heart Chakra. Alright, I feel if you chose this card, you are the type of person who is very go with the flow energy. I think a lot of you too are very highly intuitive and maybe even involved in the spiritual realm, like for work or a side gig or just in general. Like maybe you are a very witchy person, you practice witchcraft or you practice any other form of holistic or naturopathic healing modalities or medicine. And especially with the star being in the middle here, I just think I will read the keywords. Brightness, hope, could bring excesses, so be careful not to become too greedy. I'm not getting this into that, but I think a lot of you are highly intuitive, but it can also be a detriment, right? I think some of you have a hard time remaining grounded, and I think a lot of you are just go with the flow to the point of, which is also where the opossum, when I haven't read in the guidebooks yet, but I can tell it's going to provide very helpful advice for you, just from what it's saying with have a backup plan, because I think a lot of you struggle with thinking far ahead. I think a lot of you, like, it's good to be present in the moment, but I think a lot of you struggle with balancing out being present and preparing and actually getting things done. And I think a lot of you try not to worry about things that need to be done. Maybe you're not the greatest at, like, doing chores or, like, paying your taxes on time, you know? You're like, I'll get to it when I get to it. Which, also I will say the star is very Aquarius coded. The Chariot is... Oh gosh, am I gonna forget? I'm pretty sure no. Wait, the Chariot. Is the Chariot attached to anybody? I always think the Chariot is attached to, Taurus, but Taurus is the Hierophant. Who is Chariot? Is anybody Chariot? I don't think anybody is, but I always think of Taurus anyway with the Chariot. And then the High Priestess, when I think of the High Priestess, I think of Pisces energy. So you have all major arcana cards. Yeah, and the one in the middle is upright. I think the imagery of that says something. Anywho, again, I think being intuitive is great, and you're able to tap into it so easily, but it can prevent you from being grounded in the present moment. And it can keep you in la la land. And I think a lot of you, especially with that star here, rely on things turning out okay. And I think for a lot of you, maybe you are naturally very lucky and things do turn out okay for you. But I think a lot of you need to focus more on planning and preparing and not just being in your mind's eye or dreaming and visualizing so much. I think you need to focus more on the things that need to be done instead of just again, it's great to just be, but especially in today's day and age, we can't just be. We have to, get things done. Or else you could also get in trouble. And I think a lot of you have had some close calls too with if you are a procrastinator or if you just don't do things when you're supposed to or you don't get things done, it can cause issues for you. And so that's why I think Spirit, when they talk about these other oracle cards here, they will provide you with ample advice because I'll get to that later because it ties in with when I'm picturing for Peridot, but the Chariot in reverse, it's indicating to me that you are somebody who appreciates slow living. So you could be somebody too. I imagine you're the type of person who would strive and thrive the most thrive in an environment where I just see a big field of open grass in a tiny log type cabin or home. I think you would work great on the countryside and you would be great with slow living. I think you don't like when things are too fast paced. So living in New York City as an example, I think you would hate that. Unless if you live there and you love it, I guess, because you have access to things, that's great. But I think a lot of you would strive the most. I think a lot of you too are probably self-employed or wish to be self-employed. And I just see a lot of you thriving in nature and not doing well with a lot of high energy people. I think a lot of you are more low to moderate energy. You have a lot of intuitive high energy stuff going on, but it doesn't translate into physical energy that you expend. I think you very easily get drained when you're around groups of people and crowds of people. And that's actually a very beautiful thing though, because I think some of you, I think you actually balance out being introverted and extroverted very well, a lot of you, but it's just you only want certain people around you, which means that I think a lot of you are intentional about the people you have around you, but at the same time, I think a lot of you draw in people that you want to help or that you want to see the good in. I think sometimes the positivity that you have with the Star card here can kind of turn into toxic positivity, and with the High Priestess in reverse, I think sometimes you think you know how to help people and help them see the greatness in themselves and to turn their lives around, but that doesn't mean that they will. So it's having hope for people to be the best version of themselves and that you can help change and act change in them somehow. But we have to remember that, you can't change somebody. They have to be wanting to change themselves. No matter how much you say to somebody, that doesn't mean that they are going to change. And for some people, that will do the complete opposite for them. So be careful about the people you surround yourself with, because I see you being ideally, Spirit thinks you work best in small, tight-knit group of people who you feel very intuitively drawn to. And I think you attract, sometimes energy vampires can come in, so you have to be careful about that. But I think you would work best in small knit group of people, and also that's why occasionally though I'm sensing the extrovertedness can come from being in groups of people that you feel very energetically aligned with, especially people who are involved in all this spiritual and the holistic and the naturopathic and everything. I think you are very drawn to those kinds of people, but that doesn't mean everybody in those spaces is great. There's a lot of people who are very fake, unfortunately, in those kinds of spaces and who are in it for the wrong reasons. So be careful about, I think a lot of you could potentially join a cult, or feel drawn to those kinds of things, and just because it's not like you're living on a commune, whatever, that doesn't mean it's not a cult. So be careful about the people you associate with, and specifically as well the groups of people and organizations that you associate with. I just see you being very drawn to that sort of lifestyle and being very influenced by it, and just again going with the flow and being and seeing the best in people and these leaders or organizers, whatever. So be very careful about that. I think you can sometimes be very overly trusting, and so there needs to be more logic. I think Spirit wants you to be a lot more logical. Spirit thinks it's great that you have, I really feel, across all of these stacks, I feel loving energy, but for you, I just feel like you're the type of person who I feel like some of you are the type of people who will never even have children, but you just kind of have this almost motherly or like aunt quality. A lot of you are probably the mother or the aunt, whatever, of the friend group, the maternal instincts that you bring about. I think you're a very caring person, and that's why people can come to you, and that also means people who you shouldn't have around you. You're a very caring and loving person, and that draws all different types of people in. So Spirit just wants you to be more not hyper aware, but aware of that. The people you have in. For some of you, you could be put in very dangerous situations. And that also includes just for going with the flow. Like, I'm imagining some of you really like to travel or go into places of solitude and be alone. And you have to be careful about the people who are in your surroundings at those points in time, like strangers specifically. And just with your safety, be more cautious. I think some of you could be put in dangerous situations. Like, let's say you're hitchhiking, you just go in the first person's car that pulls over and you go in there. I see that being very bad for you. So a lot of you need to be more aware of the decisions that you make and not just expecting the best and thinking nothing bad can happen and that the worst thing that could happen isn't that bad, or if the worst thing does happen, you'll be fine and you'll survive through it. Spirit does not want you to have that mindset. They want you to bring more logic in, and they want for you to not be so trusting of people, and they want you to have more of your thoughts come in instead of your intuitive thoughts. Your logical thoughts and intuitive thoughts can work together and be in balance if you allow them to, but really work on the logical side of life right now. And with the slow living, I think that's great. But again, Spirit wants for you to have progress be made in your life. So make sure that you're actually taking action when it is necessary and not only relying on things moving slowly. Unfortunately, it's a very fast-paced world typically. But I think some of you too, it's almost like you're kind of stuck in a past life in a way, where some of you, I think a lot of you are old souls, and I think some of you kind of think about, again, with being overstimulated as well, where it's like if things need to get done, you're like, well, it'll get done when it can get done, when it's not something that's a core responsibility. Like, I'm just getting a sense that some of you, like, I'm getting the vision of like a maid or a housewife just like getting regular chores done. Some of you maybe do that for work as well, or you like doing those kinds of things. They can be therapeutic, like doing the daily tasks, but not doing anything outside of that. You might struggle with those things. And Spirit is saying to focus more on not just everyday living, but the things to prepare you and to plan for the future and to get things moving along. Like, let's say you're in college, but for some reason, just to get an associate's degree is taking you like 10 years, right? Maybe you're just taking one class a year, or like a semester. It's like, okay, you can get the ball rolling more now, you know. Sometimes things are going to be hard, and you have to also accept that. Not everything is going to be easy and slow. You have to do the hard things as well, and that will help you move forward to get more done and also to be more fulfilled. Because even though doing basic simple stuff can be and tasks can be rewarding within themselves, getting the hard things done can also be very rewarding and help progress things along. So that's what I have for you for the tarot cards. But again, you're a very bright person. You're a very like warm and inviting person. Just focus more on the logistical side of things and ethics and everything and all the things that I'd already said. But let's go into the book now. So let's go to Opossum. Okay, Opossum. Strategy, have a backup plan. Don't get attached to one and only one plan. Always have a plan B or at least a few other approaches to the subject of your inquiry. Too often, you'll find yourself stuck with an agenda about how things should be or how you should act in a given situation, whether or not the plan you're acting on is one that will work. One definition of insanity is trying the same thing over and over and expecting different results. So this time, try something new if your first approach doesn't work. So instead of turning left, turn right. Listen closely to your inner promptings here. You'll find clues as to what to do all around you and inside you if you just pay attention. It may not be obvious at first, but by opening your eyes, ears, and senses, you'll find some delightfully ingenious ways of approaching the situation so that the outcome will be in your favor and in alignment with the will of spirit. Additional associations, grasping, agility, maternal instinct, stability. Ooh, the eternal maternal instinct is showing up. So again, tapping into your maternal instinct, that's a beautiful quality to have, but then actually tapping into that. I think sometimes people can be stubborn with thinking they know the way, and that the way they've always done things it works, and especially with the slow living thing, it's like just doing the same thing or doing things in a certain way because it's worked for you for however long. Making sure you're not just stuck in a rut and that you're trying new things and doing new things as well. I think I don't have to provide much intuitive insight. I think what the guidebook said was perfect. So let's go to Peridot now. Peridot. I think I'll have more to say after this. So, Peridot, teach heart chakra. It is no coincidence that you are being drawn to the peridot crystal. Peridot is a beautiful green color and associated with the heart chakra. It is also associated with relationships and healing. You are a natural teacher and you are now being encouraged to use your natural healing abilities, compassionate energy, and love to help nurture and teach others. Being a teacher doesn't necessarily mean working in a school environment. Teachers come in many different forms. Perhaps you are already teaching your friends and family about how to handle different situations, or you may be a lecturer or adult educator or child carer. Whatever form of teaching you engage in, know that your spirit guides and angels are supporting you with this. Your words are very powerful. You have the ability to connect with people from all walks of life and can provide important information to those who need it. You may even be teaching unknowingly through your writing, through the words you speak, through your own positive energy, or even by leading by example. Part of your life's purpose is to heal and teach others. Share your knowledge where you can. And I really get that sense from you, where I think a lot of you too, it's not like, some of you maybe don't even do your healing work as a job, right? You just do it as your everyday life. And I'm really getting the sense of a lot of witches fall into this category. So if you are somebody who practices that lifestyle, then, and if that resonates with you, or even if you just like are involved with tarot, anything, crystals, I think you are able to help heal people in your immediate environment. You're somebody who is able to help people, and I think you do the most healing when you do the healing for people for free, if that makes sense. So that doesn't mean you can't do this for your work, but for some reason the people who come to you and you provide intuitive insights and healing insights and just overall healing and on a deep spiritual level, and when you do this for free, I think those moments are the ones that are really going to be impactful, like for the other person, maybe even for you as well, but I'm really getting a sense that the people who are most impacted are the ones that are getting this help from you for free. And I don't know how exactly that will fall in line with you if you do this for work again, but that doesn't mean you can never provide advice and insights for people just because you aren't charging them. But either way, I think you have a lot to teach people, and again, I really feel you are an old soul, and maybe even a philosophical person, some of you. So I think, and the way you just live your life, your lifestyle, a lot of people are very not into the slow living or aren't able to achieve that and slow down. I think you are somebody who can help people and teaching them at their core to just relax more, to slow down, and to trust life's process more, and to be able to really just be, because a lot of people aren't like that, and so that is why that is such a beautiful quality that you have. Also, any healing modalities or like tarot, anything involved in this holistic, metaphysical, and spiritual realm, you are able to help teach people and educate them in a loving way, where, like, for example, if people are scared about death, I feel like some of you, as an example, would be very good at educating people in a way where it's not like a lecture of the logic. I know I'm telling you to be more logical, but also there's beauty in the intuitive and the emotional. I think you are very great at conveying in a peaceful way, in a way that is non-threatening. Stuff like that. Things that maybe are tied to death. Things that are tied to the darkness, and bringing light into that darkness and shining that light and showing how it isn't all bad and how these dark themes and dark topics don't have to be scary, and how not living in autopilot doesn't have to be scary. Slow living doesn't have to be scary, and that people are able to achieve that. And I think a lot of you have the tools and resources available to help people understand that and tap into their own intuitive abilities and powers within themselves. And I see a lot of you, like, you know, for example, pulling tarot cards for other people, or like showing them videos like this and being like, hey, which card or which stack did you choose? Let's see if we have the same one, or else we can talk about it afterward and see what happens. And then we can, in the future, we can come back and be like, hey, how did this like resonate with us in the future? And I just see you opening people's eyes up to a lot of different things that traditional society doesn't open their eyes to. And that is a very beautiful thing. So I will leave it at that, 3C. I hope you enjoyed this video. And across all socials, it is at Brittney's Holistic Healing, except I do not have a Twitter or X account. You can subscribe to my YouTube channel. It really helps me out a lot. You can also like this video, which also helps me out a lot. You can comment down below if you chose this stack and if it resonated with you, and you can also comment down below if you chose this stack, as well as comment again in the future if you took any of the advice from Spirit and how things have panned out for you. But thank you so much for watching and listening again, 3C, and take care. Thank you so much for watching and listening to this video. If you liked the content, make sure you subscribe, like the video, and comment down below, as it really helps my channel out a lot. You can follow me on my socials listed here on the screen. Thank you, and blessed be.